Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm here to share this Gnome for the Holidays with Snowflake Splendor designer paper accordion fold card. So, isn't that cute? So let's set this aside and get started. For this accordion card, we're going to use Gnome for the Holidays with an assist from Harvest Hellos. So let's do a little bit of our stamping first. I've got 3 panels here that we're going to use on the inside of our accordion. And I've got my basic gray and then these 3 cute gnomes from Gnome for the Holidays. And I'm going to slide a piece of scrap paper under these real quickly because I intend to stamp off the edge. So let's start with this guy. Since he's red rubber, we're going to tap ink on, and I just want him peeking up from the corner here, and I'm going to hold him a moment and give him a rub over to make sure he's transferred his ink. And then we'll do this other little guy, and same thing, he's going to be popping out of this corner. And again, give him a rub all over and a hold for a moment so ink transfers. And then this gal, we're going to get fully onto her panel. And just holding so it has a moment to transfer. Okay, let's close this up. Well, no, I think we're going to set this aside and do our bit with the Stamparatus next. And then we can move on to the next bit. So I've already set my Stamparatus up. I've got a piece of Whisper White that's been cut with one of the stitched rectangle dies. And I'm just inking up the apple from Harvest Hellos. And then flipping my plate around, since I've already lined these up, and inking up this stamp from Gnome for the Holidays. And giving it a rub all over. Okay, so we've given them kind of a toadstool here. And let me pull this stamp off and set it aside, and then I want to bring in my final Whisper White panel for the inside of the card. This is going to be our sentiment, and I've got this one of my grids that I send to customers who order the Stamparatus with me. And we're going to just set our sentiment on there. We're going to use this for our test run. And I've got Highland Heather ink here. And let's do a test run and see that we're straight. And let me move this a second. It looks like I'm just a little bit off. So this is the part that always gets me. So I think if I go this direction, because of course we're opposites here, let's see if that did it. Okay, I think we're straight now. So we'll ink this up for real this time and stamp. Okay, and let's set this aside for later and move this out of the way. And close up this ink And then let's do a little bit of coloring here. So move this back down in and grab my Stampin' Blends. I want my Purple Posy to begin with. And Purple Posy caps look a lot like Highland Heather caps. So, whoops. And I want the brush tips. Let's make sure that I'm actually up here in the screen. And I'm going to bring this in a little bit and move this up so that maybe I can bring my head down and you won't be looking at the back of my head. Okay, so starting with my dark purple posy around the edges. We're being a little fanciful here, and I'm using those lines on the edges of the apple to help with the shading idea. And then we're going to come in with the light and just carefully up here. And I like to work back and forth so that any ink I've put down doesn't have the opportunity to dry. Once it dries, it's not going to blend for you. And I like to work in rather than out towards the edge. That way, I'm not running the risk of having it travel over the line, since alcohol ink continues to move. Once you lay it down, and because the paper is wicking it, it travels a little bit. Okay, and you'll notice that I'm going back to the edge, which means that I'm creating more depth of and variant of color by coming across those places. Okay. And we just want to leave a tiny highlight, but not so that it looks inappropriate. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of this dark Highland Heather, light Highland Heather, I am so sorry, along the edge, and then come back with my light purple posy to blend it a little bit, just trying to add to the shading here. And do the same thing over here with the light Highland Heather. Okay. And I think maybe a little bit more here. And then we'll blend that again with the light. I love that the Stampin' Blends are not as sensitive to the direction that you're coloring as a watercolor marker can be. So if I change directions, it's okay. Okay, let's recap these. And move them to the sides. And then we're going to color our tree. We're just being fanciful here. I've got my light and dark balmy blue. And so I'm going to color in with the dark balmy blue right along these places that'll be a little more shaded. And then let's come in with the light and blend that down. Okay. And then let's add in the Coastal Cabana. We're working within the colors that are in the designer paper for this project. And this is Light and Dark Pool Party. And then I'm going okay. So there is our fanciful toadstool house. And let's move on to our gnomes. So I think we're going to go with the pool party for this guy. Oops. I like the brush tips. And we're just going to come in with this darker shade here. Okay, and give him a little bit of color on his ornament here. And then same thing, we're just going to make him all matchy-matchy. Okay. We'll come back to his beard in a moment. And then let's grab this guy, and he's going to be our balmy blue. And I'm just putting down the light first. I'm going to come right back over that same place. And then I'm going to come back with the light and blend okay, and give him down here on his feet and his arms or sleeves. Okay, and then let's do her. And where are my purple posy? There's my Highland Heather, so these two are purple posy. And she's going to get a little purple treatment for her fanciful hat here. And just blending around with the light purple posy, just a very little bit of the dark in here. Okay, and then I'm going to do her sleeves, mostly dark, and then a little bit of the light. And then we'll do the dark here, and then blend this on down with the light. And then she's going to get dark shoes. So let's cap these up. And then these guys, we need to come back to them for their beards. And everybody's going to be a little gray. So let's put in some of the dark smoky slate, and then come back in and blend with the light smoky slate and leave a little bit of white. And then we're going to touch in just a little bit of the dark up here and go for the light. Okay, and let's move him over and go for this one. Same thing. We're going to just bring in 2 or 3 strokes of the dark smoky slate, and then come back in and blend around with the light smoky slate. Some of it's blending, some of it's just coloring, and leave little bits of white in there. It helps to add to the overall texture of their beards. And I'm going to color this in the light, and then let's close these up and grab the dark balmy blue and the bullet tip and come right in here. I may let that dry and hit it one more time so that it's not going to bleed while I'm coloring. And then I've got the Just Jade here that I'm going to put on the ribbon, and I'm coloring with the bullet tip. Okay, oops, and she has some hair. So let's make her. She can be gray just like everybody else. Okay, that's quick and easy. And we can give her some Just Jade leaves here. And I'm going to do her berries with the light Highland Heather. Okay, so these are as colored as they're going to be. Let me move these markers out of the way, and we will start and do some of our die cutting we need to do before assembling. Okay, the first step in putting our accordion together, we need to add our Snowflake Splendor designer paper. I do have a PDF on my blog that has all of the measurements that you'll need for this card. And if you want the basics for assembling the accordion pieces, those are in the video that I'm referencing above right now. Okay. And we're just going to, glue these on, get them centered in these panels. Now these are the same colors that we've just used to color our gnomes. And the last one. Isn't this paper gorgeous with its variations of blues and purples? Okay, so that's the beginning of the inside of our card. Let's pick this up just a moment, and we need the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we need to cut each one of these panels. So we're going to lay this on here and then place our stitched rectangle die down. Oops. Finding a purchase for. Okay, that looks centered. I'm a little high, so we're going to come down just a little bit. You can take the time to mark this, but frankly, I don't. I do eyeball it. So if it makes you more comfortable to mark the center for each one of these, then by all means do. I'm going to add another little piece of washi here. We do have a magnetic cutting plate. Okay. And we'll get a crack here. Nope. Thought we'd get a crack and a pump. There we go. Okay. So let's pull this out and make sure that I've cut all the way through. I'm going to give that one more pass. This is a little thicker because I've got the designer paper on top. So I want to give it ample opportunity to be cut all the way through. So we'll do that. Okay, and do another check and make sure that everybody's going to pop out here. Okay, so we have all of our stitched rectangles cut in our base, and next we're going to use the Winter Snow embossing folder on a couple of pieces of purple posy cardstock. So let's just slide those right on in here and make sure our seam is either going to go in first or sideways. I need to take the number 2 plate out, and then we'll put our sandwich back in here. So the seam has to go straight or in sideways. If it goes in last, you run the risk of blowing the seam out from the pressure of running through the embossing machine. Okay, and then these have a lovely snowflake pattern on them. Let me just clear all of this out of the way. And let's begin to assemble some of our pieces. So now I've got the central accordion piece, and we're going to put these pretty little snowflake pieces on the ends. And they're just a nice little tone on tone and carried the snowflake design from the designer paper onto this center accordion. Got a little bit of glue there. Okay, so now let's go with our stamped pieces, and let me grab our sentiment. So our sentiment's going to go in on one of these center panels, and I'm going to pull it so that it is off center in the panel. And then our little gal here is going to be the other center, and she's also going to be pulled off center a little bit. You'll see why this works when we put this together. And then let's put this guy down here. And our last guy over here. And our two guys we have centered in their panels. Okay, let's move this out of the way just a moment. I've got pieces for the front. I've got a piece of purple posy and then a piece of the designer paper. And I'm just going to layer this right on here. And we're just getting a tight little matted border. Okay. And then that's the end of the gluing for a moment. So let's bring our accordion piece in, and we need to bring this through and then out on this side and out on this side. And let's grab my Stampin' Seal Plus. Now, our little embossed layer could have been a little more narrow if you wanted to. For me, it's just easier. You can cut them all the same size and it's all good. Okay, so then we're going to take this and make sure it's centered in here. Okay. And then let's bring this one out, and we're just going to run, making sure that I'm all the way out at the edge. There we go. And I'm sorry if my head is in the camera. Sometimes when I lean down a little lower so that I can see better, then my head ends up in the camera. I hope that was not the case. Okay, and then we're just going to pull this in, and again make sure that we're centered. I'm going to pull this up and check the back. Okay, so there's our inside. Let's now help this with its memory and fold these pieces together. Okay. And now I've got my ribbon, and we're just going to run that here long enough, and I'm going to go ahead and tie it so that I can cut it from the spool. That's not the nicest bow ever, but we can come back and fix that. But I need to have it tied. And then we're going to add our front and back panels to this. Let me just grab my dimensionals. I've knocked them to the floor. Okay, so we don't want our dimensionals to show, so I'm going to start by adding them on both sides of the ribbon here, and this will create a channel for that ribbon to go through. And then we're just going to put these directly on this piece. Oops. I'm going to move this one in just a smidge for just in case. And move my bow around to the front. And same thing with this one. Moving it in just a little bit. Okay, so let's put our front panel on. Okay. Oh, you know, it would help if I remove the backing from these dimensionals so that my piece can stick to them as well. I seem to get in a hurry as I get closer to the end of a project and want to finish, so we're going to flip this over and do the same thing using dimensionals on either side of the ribbon to create a channel to keep that ribbon from sliding all over the place. Okay, and then on the back for right now, I'm just putting a piece of purple posy. You will want to add a piece of whisper white after you've added your message to the whisper white, because this is the portion of the card where you'll leave your message for the recipient all the way on the back. So there isn't really a space for a personalized note on the inside. Okay, and again we're going to center this. Sorry, I'm having trouble seeing because of the lights, so I may pick this up and take it out of frame for just a moment so that I can see. Okay, let's do this again. And my top needs to be straight. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Okay, so let's flip this back around. And we have our little toadstool gnome home that we did at the beginning, using the Gnome for the Holidays and Harvest Hellos to create our toadstool. And we're just centering that. And let's brush all these little bits out of the way and use our take your pick and add a little bit of bling to our toadstool for its little spots. Oops. Okay. And then let's fix this bow. So it opens up, and then when we close it, we just draw the ribbon. Where is it stuck over here? Oh, it's under one of my dimensionals. There we go. So we don't want that to happen. Good thing to test it. Okay, and then we're just going to tie a bow here. And I do like to leave the long tails on it for our finished project. So that is our accordion card, all ready for Christmas. Just need to add your personalized note. This was Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your card making friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell if you would like to be notified the next time I upload videos. And of course, if you're in the United States, you can shop in my Stampin' Up store. Have a great day. Bye.